that guy because you guys look really comfortable, but this is a breakout and you're really gonna make my head go around like the Exorcist, the way you're spread out. So can you, just for the sake of this session, you mind guys just like coming like right here? Like just move in, just be right here. This is a big room for a breakout, and I like to make a connection. Say it again? Okay, he's gonna go get some more people. Honestly, I was kind of surprised you guys are here, so he's gonna go get more. But it's bittersweet because I'm glad you guys are here because you had choices, right? This breakout, so you chose to be here. But the flip side was, if you didn't come, I was gonna go to the spa. So the fact that you guys are here, I guess, not sure how I feel about it right now, to be honest with you. And the other thing is, I'm actually, even though I am glad you're here, I'm going to give you an opportunity to leave. I really am. It's going to be twofold. One is, if you sat and watched that panel that they just did, and if you're fully expecting like that level of detailed conversation about how technology works, you should go. You should go, because I'm telling you right now, not only am I not an SE, I didn't bring any of them with me. Okay, so that if that's what you want, that's not going to happen in the next 20 minutes. And the other one is, too, yes, I work at Zoom. If you want to know how the Zoom technology works, you're not going to get that either. I am not going to tell you anything about our product or how it works. So if you were expecting like those two things, I'll just turn around. I'm going to turn around and I'll give you, because I don't want to put no pressure on you, right? And you can leave. There's like 3 other options for things to do here, right? Or at least to listen to. I am going to talk about the impact or the convergence that's happening now between CX. It's a cute little buzzword that everybody likes to say. But the battle that's happening in CX right now is being driven by technology, which is, I heard, what some of you guys wanted to like talk about. So we're going to talk about how the two of those meet. By title, I am the global head of channel CX at Zoom. And when you find out what that is, call me, right? You can reach me on LinkedIn. Tell me what that is, because I'm still figuring it out, right? I do have, you guys do have in this market some really cool and really smart people that will be able to tell you real intelligent things about Zoom, and they didn't know I was going to do this, but they're right there. They're right there. See those guys, those two right there? Like, they live here, they live in this area, they know Zoom. Because the third thing I should probably tell you is, I'm not going to sell you anything. Number one, because that's not really me, that's not my job. These guys can connect you. ATC, they can help you if Zoom is the right fit for you. But I just travel around and educate people. If you buy some Zoom stuff, that's great. If you don't, I get paid the same amount of money. So I'm good, okay? All right? But I do want to talk about something. I said, and I don't want to traumatize anyone by looking at this picture. I did this one time, and it's not funny. I don't know. I have a sick sense of humor. But there was a guy like in the military, and he saw this, and it wasn't good. So if this, look away. All right, look away but this is I wanted to talk about the war, but not a literal war, not a war like that. But and yes, I am at Zoom and I'm responsible for CX at Zoom. But some of what I want to talk about is actually from another role that I do. I'm actually on an advisory group called it's Employee Bridge, and you haven't heard of them, and that's fine. But basically, it's a subset of the Department of Labor and the Census Bureau. And basically, we track where employees work and what employees do while they're at work and what they like. So as you can imagine, the last 3 years, we've been really busy tracking where employees work and how they like to work and what they do. And that's a little bit of what I wanted to talk about, because the war that's happening is this war. It's not the war with like guns and armies and stuff like that. It's the war of customer demand has gone up. What customers want and expect from a company is almost at the highest level that it's been in a very, very long time. They're very demanding. The reason it's a war is because customer spending has gone down. Okay, so they're spending, consumers are spending less money and they want more for it. And if you take that from the business perspective, we now have companies who require employees to do more, and in most cases, they have less employees to do it with. So that's what's created it. So the war of customer acquisition and customer retention is a big deal. And I put this in here. I'm not going to read to you guys. You guys can all read the slide. But we say CX and we say customer experience. And for some people, it's a buzzword. Some people might not know what it means. So I actually put the definition up there so that you would understand when we talk about that, what we mean is a true customer experience is not not a transaction. It's not, well, every time they call me or every time they go to my website or something like that. True customer experience is the totality of your relationship between the consumer and the business. And great customer experience is the part that's highlighted, is where you allow a customer to interact with you the way they want to. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now, because that's something I get in trouble for. And that's probably a long list, to be fair, of things that I get in trouble for. But one is, how many know what the golden rule is? Anybody going to tell me what the golden rule? Anybody can say it. Exactly. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you, right? And the golden rule is how a lot of businesses' customer support and leadership experience is, because it sounds like a great idea. I'm going to tell you it's dumb AF, okay? It is not a good way to do business. Here's why, and I'll make it make perfect sense for you. I used to say if you're married, raise your hand. I'm smart, I don't do that anymore. If you're happily married, raise your hand, right? Let's do that. Okay, so those of you that are happily married, right, or happily in committed relationships, people are different. I am not like my significant other, right? I'm not. But how successful, for those of you that are in happy arrangements, marriages, relationships, how successful would you be if you treated your spouse the way you like to be treated? Probably not. It's not going to go that well, right? It's not going to go well. Right? So true customer experience, a better than the golden rule, will be treat customers the way they want to be treated. Let them interact with you the way they want to interact with you, and that, in our day and age, requires some technology that some businesses don't have, right? So here's a couple numbers. Everybody likes stats. When I was in college, my professor had a thing that he said about stats. I'm not going to say that to you guys because, we're just meeting. I probably shouldn't use profanity right off the bat, all right? But this is a Gartner stat about the digital initiatives. And then there's a Deloitte stat about what's going on in contact centers right now and why they're switching to the cloud. But the business challenges that people are facing, there's only 4 here, there's a lot of them, but you may be able to identify with one or a couple of them, is customer satisfaction and retention. Everyone's talking about that, right? If you can retain customers, the old thing we used to say is cheaper to keep her, right? So if you can retain a customer, that's cheaper and more economical than acquiring one. High agent employee turnover is really interesting. In the contact center space or CX space, employee turnover has always been a good thing, right? The average contact center turnover, their churn rate was about 30%. The irony of that is when everybody went home, that dropped. It's in the high teens, low 20s right now, which is still a lot for a business, but that's nothing for a contact center. The reasoning, though, which you guys can have an impact on, is why they're changing, because it changed. The reasons that employees leave the reason the employees list for leaving a business used to be, the number one reason used to be supervisor. I don't like my boss, okay? When everybody was in the build, some of you, if your boss is here, don't look around, okay? All right? But that was the reason for a lot of people, right? They had poor supervision, they didn't get along, they wanted to leave, right? Now that the majority of these level employees are at home, the number one reason they give for quiet quitting or leaving is they don't have the necessary tools to effectively do their job, okay? So that's a shift. Their supervisor is less of an issue because they're home now, right? And the supervisor can only do so much through electronic interaction. Now their thing is, I can't do what you guys want me to do because my home environment is not, I don't have the tools, I don't have everything that I have. So that's one that you guys can definitely address. Now I want you to see where you come into this. A lot of you raised your hands when you said you're in IT, whether you're in the infrastructure or architecture or whatever. I want you to understand what's driving this change, this digital transformation that we talk about. And I'm not going to read you the small part, but suffice it to say, consumer demand is at an all-time high. People no longer just want to be like happy or easy or whatever like that. They want personalized experiences. They want you to know who they are when they call. They don't want to, the days of me calling in or going to a website and putting in all my information, giving my firstborn and saying the last four of my social security number and the first two of my date of birth and all that stuff, and you recognize me, and then somebody answers the phone, and what's the first thing they ask me? They ask me for all that stuff all over again, right? so that's a horrible experience. People aren't settling for it now. Now the expectation is when I go into a hotel, I didn't, nothing against this. This is a beautiful venue, but I didn't stay here last night, so just be fair. But the hotel I went into last night, one of my favorite things when I go to a hotel is I don't have to. This is gonna sound really, really bad, but I don't have to talk to the people at the hotel. Okay, and I love that. I love walking into the hotel and going to my room and putting my phone next to my door and walking in my room. I do not like dealing with front desk people and everything that goes along with that. Okay, but that's just me, right? And I like it. I go in my room, my TV says "Welcome Brandon" on it. It's great, right? I go to pick up, I go to get my car. I go to rent a car, right? Again, I don't go to the counter. I walk out. There's a whole bunch of cars in a section that I'm identified with, and then I walk in that section, I pick the car I want, and I leave, right? It's great. I show my driver's license and I leave. Like the expectation that consumers have for their interaction is different. We want personalized service. We want white glove service. We just don't want to talk to anybody about it, right? That's what changed. We want that level of service. We just want you to do it automatically. We don't want to have to explain to someone who we are and why we should have that level of service. So that's changing, and companies are trying to adapt. Companies are adapting to the consumer demand, and companies are also adapting to the employee demand because employees are different now. Employees are at home. They have a different expectation. They have different distractions, even though they're working more hours, right? So companies are adapting to that. So what are they doing? Companies are saying, okay, I need to do a little bit better optimization of who I am and where we are. So they're doing business optimization, right? That's the first thing. They're not running out and simply buying technology. They're saying, how can I become more efficient, right? I have a less budget. I need to do more. I need to ask my employees to do more. So I want to become more efficient. And then you get to the digital transformation. Then you get to the part where, okay, now I've identified how I can be better, how my business can operate better. Now I'm going to look for, are there ways to automate these new business processes? Okay? And for some of you, I will tell you the best way for you to do that is, and this is not a commercial, they didn't ask me that, but I'm going to tell you, the best way for you to do that is to find the person from ATC that invited you here in the first place. Okay? Because and this is not a knock against you guys. I don't know any of you personal, but I'm going to give you a quick story about a major customer who, let's say they do a lot of fundraising and education for the largest disease that impacts people in the world, okay? And they're down in Atlanta, Georgia, right? And they wanted a consultant, and so I went down to meet with them, and I met with them over a 4 or 5 month period, and they could decide they want to do an RFP, and so we start working on RFP, we put it together, and then they decide, you know what? We are blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows who we are. Everyone wants to do business with us. We're just going to go direct, and we'll send the RFP out ourselves. No problem. I've been paid. Good luck. They send the RFP out, right? And I'm on to other customers. I'm minding my business. I'm out. 6 months later, I get a call from a different person, a different partner who says, hey, I wonder if you can help me out with something. I said, sure. He said, I can't tell you who the company is yet because I got to send you the NDA. But I have a company that sent out an RFP, and they got it back within like 3 weeks, and they've been sitting on it for 5 or 6 months because no one there, they still don't know who to choose. They don't know how to make a decision based on the information they got back. Okay, now that's not you. You guys are really smart people and you work at wonderful companies, but I'm going to tell you this. If you send out an RFP or something like that on your own without someone like ATC to help you do apples to apples after that, it's not going to go well. It's not. Because I can tell you as a vendor, if you send out something that says cool things like, do you integrate with Salesforce? What's the answer going to be? Yes. The answer is going to be yes. So you're going to get back a document with a bunch of yeses on it. And everybody's going to say yes. But you're not really going to know what that means. Okay? So take advantage of the resources and advantage that you have with these guys, right? Now, choose your weapons. Okay, I said you were in a war. You're in a war for your employees, and the employees are saying, hey, my number one problem for why I'm leaving or switching jobs is because I don't have the tools I need. So they're telling you you're in war, you're not arming them, right? You're sending people to the front lines with water guns, right? Not you. Other businesses are doing that, okay? Other people who weren't smart enough to take the time out and spend a half a day here to learn this stuff, right? So if you're using, and this is not a personal knock against a company, but if you're using, if in this war for customers and for employee retention, if you're using premises-based equipment, you're the equivalent of like a six-shooter in the West. That's just the way it is. That's not Zoom telling you, that's me telling you as a technology consultant for the last 30 years, you're at a disadvantage because there are changes, there's things that you simply can't do. The way your technology works, the fact that you actually have a physical infrastructure, you need to do upgrades, you need to do maintenance, you need to do all those things. You simply can't move as fast as some of the cloud-based technology that's out there, right? If you have a cloud-based technology and you have an omni-channel, everybody likes to throw that around. Everybody knows what that is, right? Nobody knows what that is, but everybody likes to say it. It's cute. It's a buzzword, right? But omni-channel or multi-channel means that you allow customers to interact with you with text and phone and a bunch of other things. If you're doing skills-based routing, like you got technology skills-based routing, so you have like click 1 for sales and 2 for support. That's good. You're no longer using a six-shooter. You now have an AK. You have an automatic weapon. So you've upgraded a little bit. You're still doing groundwork, right? Cloud-native interactive platforms that use APIs to do intelligent routing combined with hybrid agents in a multifaceted work environment, now you're talking stealth activity. Now you're talking a level of interaction that will allow you to not simply react to what your customer may want to do, but for you to have AI, for you to have data that allows you to be proactive and create an environment that's conducive to people wanting to do business with you, okay? And notice there's no names on there. I'm not telling you which company, to get the technology from. I'm just saying in this war, if your employees are saying, and they have, that I don't have the tools to do my job, and you're forcing them to use six-shooters, you may want to consider upping that a little bit because the customers are requiring it now. Now, there's a lot of things on here. I'm not going to read them all to you, but suffice it to say, the right technology can collect, collate, mine, and present actionable data, right? And there's a bunch of technology listed there. But the wrong technology is almost as bad. So one thing is I want to get better technology, right? I want to improve what I'm doing, and I want to have a better experience. I'm going to teach you guys something simply for your benefit. It's called rational drowning. Any of you ever read The Challenger Sale? Anybody know what that is? No? Okay, so this will be surprise. All right, added nugget. Okay, so here's the deal. Rational drowning is a concept that was learned about human beings and why human beings in certain instances make decisions. I'll give you an example of how typical people try to get you, even when they're presenting something to you and they want you to change something, right? Normal thing is, hey, if you change this, it's going to be so much better. I'll give you an example. I'm going to use grass, not that kind, okay? I'm going to use lawns, okay? Let's say that, right? But, so in Texas, I used to live in Austin, and I had a big, backyard, side yard, front yard. Don't be impressed. It's Texas. Everyone has them. Okay? So now, and you have those guys. You guys may have this in your neighborhood. They come to knock on your door, and they try to tell you, hey, I've been in your neighborhood, across the street, I did X, Y, Z for them, or they're using this or whatever. And normal sales is, hey, if you let me do this, your grass will be blue-green, it'll be pretty, and it'll look good, and I'll come out, and I'll mow it all the time, and I'll water it, and I'll feed it, and you'll have better-looking grass. And that's typically how we sell. That's typically how we talk to consumers. If you do this, you'll be better. Use my product, it's going to be better for you. Use my service, it's going to be better for you. What we found is that consumers make complex decisions using that type of information only about 20% of the time. 80% of the time, they will make a decision, if you don't tell me my grass is going to be better, tell me my grass sucks. If my grass is brown, it has weeds in it, poop in it, holes in it, I am more likely to want to change that than I am to simply want to take a light green grass and make it a dark green grass. All right, that's called rational drowning, and that's a concept. And the reason I want to put that out there is because a lot of companies don't understand that, and for that reason, they start on digital transformation And 38% of the time, when they start on digital transformation, so they start on this cycle that I'm going to get better, I'm going to use different technology, 38% of the time they stop within 9 months and decide to simply keep what they have. And the reason they do that is because they don't understand rational drowning. You don't really understand where you are might be keeping you from being more successful with your customer base or in getting more customers. There's a lot of technology out there. It all does different things. I could take time to explain each and every one of those little bullets to you on there, but that's not really why I'm here. But in your roles, you might be faced with hearing all these different buzzwords, right? My buddy Gary talked earlier about, chat GBT. That's the thing right now, right? Last year it was AI, and before that it was video, and before that it was like, QM and all those kinds of things. There's always going to be something. You guys work in technology for the most part. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be the next greatest, latest hoo-ha doodad that comes out in this space. So you want to be able to separate fad from trend. What is actually happening in this space versus what people are really talking about. So how do you know the difference? This slide is kind of funny to me because for the most part in our space, technology suppliers, this is not like against anyone. I'm not talking advisors, I'm talking about suppliers. They tend to do what's on the left. I grew up, I spent a lot of time in New York. I used to see this dude like every day. Okay, you walk down Canal Street or you hit the avenue in New York, and there's someone, I got this, I got that, like, what do you need? And they're running along, and they're going to tell you all about the product, the features and benefits, right, of what it does without even knowing whether that applies to me or not, right? You guys have the benefit, again, I'm going to say you guys know you're here, there on the title it says ATC. You have the benefit of having a relationship with someone that will do a consultative process for you. They'll figure out the right pricing for you, and they'll help you figure out not just what features a specific product or vendor does, but which of those actually will apply to you, okay, which makes it way more important. So what does that look like? All right, this is actually me about 4 or 5 months ago, right? I walked into the dealership, and I wanted to change out, I was going to change out a car, right? So I go in there, and the guy asked me, very much like some people, like some of you might do, you have existing technology, networks, infrastructure set up in your business, right? And even if you say, okay, we're going to go to the cloud, we're going to upgrade, we're going to come off of premises equipment, we're going to go cloud. What the majority of, not you, because you guys are here learning, what the majority of other businesses will do is they will simply take a snapshot, they'll create a spreadsheet of everything they have and what it does, and they simply go to someone and say, do this for me, but do it in the cloud, right? I want this thing, okay? That's not smart. That's not smart. Now I'll tell you why it's not smart. Not you're not smart. That process is not smart because when you have existing technology, over the years and years of doing a business, you adapt to it. You create Band-Aids. You create workarounds. You create policies. You write other technology to make up for your existing technology to do the things that you want to do. So you don't simply want to go and say, I'm going to do a transition and just do this for me. You should go and say, what can this do? So here's the thing. So the guy says, well, what kind of car are you driving in it now? So he's looking out, and he saw the kind of car. Okay, it was a little coupe, cute little car, whatever. So he gives me this really nice, sleek, convertible, and we go for a car drive, right? We go for a drive. We're out for like 15, 20 minutes. He's showing me all the cool things. I'm putting the pedal down. It's great. And then we go back to the shop. And he says, hey, you know what? Why don't you just take it for a while? I got a couple of other things I'm going to do. So I was like, great. I go out. I drive past the house. I'm just driving around. I go to the store. I do all kinds of things. It's a really, really nice car. And I take it back to him. And he's like, so you want to talk to, you always got to talk to the guys in the back, right? You want to talk to the general manager. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to keep looking. He's like, well, what was wrong with it? Nothing's wrong with the car. It's a great car. What he didn't know is I wasn't there to replace the car that I drove there in, or even that style. I was there because I have 4 teenage daughters that have decided they want to do every damn sport there is. I need an SUV. I needed a bigger truck. I did not want to replace the car I drove. I was looking for something completely different. But because he didn't ask me any questions about what I wanted, he simply wanted to replace what I had or the one that I drove there on, he didn't get a sale that day. Okay? So I would tell you, as you look at your existing technology, what it does, and what you want technology to do, think about the latter more. What do you want? From a business perspective, what are you trying to accomplish? And then get some help with figuring out what technology does that. All right, so that way you end up. The right solution means those wonderful things. I don't like that slide. All right, so you guys are learning so much about me right now. All right, so I want to get to this because I want to leave you guys, because one of the things that I liked when I used to go, the reason if I took time, I'm an operations person. I did not grow up in sales, and in case you can't tell, I did not grow up in technology either. Okay, I'm an operational leader. I've run contact centers literally for Fortune 500 companies all over the world. So that's my business, that's my background. And if I took the time out of my day to go to a conference or a workshop, regardless of what it was about, I wanted to learn something. I wanted to get something. Because I'm trading value, right? Because I have work to do. So I wanted to tell you guys, like I said, I want to tell you the difference between Fad and stuff like that. I want to tell you what's actually happening in the CX contact center world space. So you can walk away saying, okay, these are things happening. And this goes back to what I said before. It's not, some of it comes from the industry, some of it comes from reported data that companies and employees are saying, this is what's going on. Okay, so the first thing, the importance of EX to drive CX finally hits mainstream. Anybody know what EX is? It's the employee experience. And you will say, well, of course the employee experience drives the customer experience. That was not known. To be clear, that was not known. In the past, contact centers are employees that are the lifeblood of your organization. They're talking to your consumer. They're presenting the image of your business. In most cases, they were the most underpaid, abused, dark building working people on the planet in the past. And we would do things to them like put a mirror on their you know what I'm talking about. We'd put a mirror on their monitor and tell them to smile while they're talking because it sounds better. Okay? We would do that. Or we would tell them, hey, you know what? Because you were great and you have perfect attendance, you can have a casual day. Okay? All their days are casual days now. Okay? So you can't do those types of things anymore. You can't tell them you can wear jeans because you've been successful. Trust me, they're not wearing jeans. And you don't want to go below here on the Zoom. Okay? So they're not wearing it. But now it's mainstream. Now companies have realized if I take care of my employees, I have a better shot of them taking care of my customer. It seems like a no-brainer, but I'm telling you, it's brand freaking new. Okay? All right. Quiet quitting affects CX faster than other parts of the business. So if you have people that are responsible for delivering a customer experience and you have any of them that are at home, whether they're all home or they're hybrid or whatever, that seems to be an area right now, that area statistically is quiet quitting faster than other parts of the business. And you might say to it very much like Gary said, when you have knowledge workers or you have people that need to be in a building or working on something or actual like IT people, they're not quiet quitting because the stuff's running. There's machines running, there's business running, they have to actively work, right? Or if you're in logistics or something like that, you have to actively work. But if I'm already sitting at home and, you know, I'm just waiting for the phone to ring, and I may answer it, I may not answer it, I am more likely, and I'm a quiet quitter, meaning I'm not going to leave the company, I'm just going to work less. That's happening faster, and it's harder to find, okay, because there are not a lot of tools that effectively track remote performance. Why? Because we weren't expecting COVID, okay? Nobody planned for it. So we don't have a lot of tools that allow you to track performance the way you could when the employees were right there in the building, right? Next one, AI to navigate complex resources exceeds the human-sounding bots. Okay, everyone, I will make this distinction because a lot of you raised your hand and said you were in IT. I do realize the difference between AI and machine learning, and I will accept that the majority of things that happen in the contact center space and the CX space right now are machine learning, but when you say that, people don't know what you're talking about. When you say AI, everybody goes, ooh, okay, because they've seen movies, all right? So we use AI, okay? Understand that's not the technical version of what's happening, but that's what we call it because it makes them understand it better. All right, AI in the beginning were simply chatbots, right? That's what it was. You call in, and the chatbot listens to you, and you don't have to go through the IVR, and it's better, and some of them do quality things. I will tell you where AI is moving to because I think it's way more impactful. Now AI is being used more on the back end to gather information about the caller, listen to the call, and advise the agent on what that person is most likely calling about. One of the coolest ones I've seen out there is an application that takes the top 20% of your staff and listens to their call for an extended period of time, like you say 30 days or whatever. And from that, it will form the ideal agent. It will form the ideal employee. And then it will listen to everyone else's calls. And while they're on the call, whatever you name the agent, you get to name whatever the ideal agent is. So let's call her Susie. While that agent is on the call, the AI, Susie's listening, and Susie will tell the agent, hey, maybe you should ask this question. Or based on what I'm hearing, the person is calling about this, and bring it up in the CRM or in a database for the agent to see it. There's a lot more things being developed on that end. It's really cool, and it's actually useful. It's not just cute, because it helps the agent give a better service to your customer. All right, B2B video interactions continue to increase. Even as COVID subsides, we're still finding more and more people. It's just that how they're doing it or why they're doing it. I have a customer I went to see down in Florida, and they have 400 plus people using video, but they don't do video for end user customers, right? Which is a good. Any of you ever like worked in a contact center or seen a contact center or you have a contact center where you are? Okay. Do you want customers seeing them? Hell no. No. You know, so video will probably never take off in that environment, okay? But in this environment, it worked because this is an airlines, and what they had master technicians in Florida, and they have field technicians in ports all over the world. So the field technician, if they can't figure out how to make the blinky light go off, the field technician is literally out by the plane, and now the master technician can see what they see. Okay, so that's a good application for it. There's another customer who is they have a cable service. I'll say it that way. They have a cable service, right? And sometimes they have to send field technicians, which is baffling to me. Okay, because I mean, okay, back in the day, there was a lot that went into like getting your television, you know, connecting a VCR. Some of you don't even know what that is. Like connecting all these things to it. Okay, that's not the case, right? Now you plug one cord, plug it up from the wall, right? And some don't even need that, right? But there's a cable company customer that still send people out, but they also do video because they found that there are some people, when they say plug the HDMI cable in the back of your television, they still didn't know what to do, and they're trying to describe it, or they're asking them what's on the TV screen. Well, if they do a video call, now they can see the screen. They can watch the process and stuff like that. So that's good. Two-way social media communication is a thing, and it should scare the hell out of you. And I don't care what kind of business you have. Because in the old days, they will tell you that somebody had a good experience, told 11 people. No, somebody had a good experience, told 5 people. Somebody had a bad experience, will tell 11 people. Multiply that by a zillion right now. Because people that have a bad experience can tweet about you. And in a matter of seconds, millions of people who feel like they want to be a part of the misery will join in. And now you have millions of people bad-mouthing your company. And if you don't have two-way social media communication, you have no idea. And it's just happening. It's just out there, it's going, and customers are seeing it, they're reading it, and they're going, I'm not going to business with them. There's a scary stat that I saw. And it said, how many of you use Yelp? Anybody look at Yelp for like before they go to a restaurant, or you look at the stars on things, right? There's a stat that says 88% of the time people believe a Yelp review as if it's coming from a trusted friend. That's scary to me, okay? And to any business owner, you should know what your Better Business Score is. You should know what your Yelp review is. You need to know if you're trending on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. You should be at the very least scraping that data. That's what it's called. There's applications that will monitor the internet for you and tell you when your name comes up, and some will even tell you if your name comes up and it's associated with a specific other type of sentiment. You know, you want to know that. All right, that's happening. It's real. There's an entire 2 generations of consumers that shop based on social media. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this yet, but TikTok is a larger search engine than Google from activity. Okay, there are more and more people deciding who they're going to do business with from what's available on TikTok than they are from searching Google or looking at a business's website. All right, so if you're not tracking those types of things, there are things being said about your business that you're probably not sure of. All right. Last one, CSAT specific to hybrid work environment doubles. Okay, so we know there was a bump. Somebody talked earlier about the bump when everybody went to work at home. There was a bump in productivity. There was also a bump in employee satisfaction. There was a bump in customer satisfaction. Okay, now the trend is hybrid work. So hybrid work, as Gary described it, you guys know, is I may have the agents come in a couple days a week, or I may have my employees come in a couple days a week, but most likely I give my employees the option of working at home and working in the office and doing any combination thereof. Apparently, that has been widely accepted and hugely rewarded by employees. Okay, so if you can afford to do, and I don't mean financially, I mean logistically, if you can afford to have a hybrid environment for your work base, it's worth it. Apparently people, they like it. It's both. It's both. Because of what we said in the beginning. It's because the EX is driving CX. So what happens is, that's a great question. What happens is the employee satisfaction went up, and so in return, it translated into customers being happier. Okay. Great question. All right, increased emphasis on self-service. This is a duh. Everyone knows this. There are people who don't want to talk to people. Okay, you just don't. You want to go to a website, or I want to chat, I want to text, whatever. And if you think about this, and I said this actually 2 years ago, if you think about this, this should not be a stretch of the imagination, okay? Because everybody just texts everybody anyway. What makes you think they want to, oh, well, it's okay for me to text my friends, but a business, I got to call them. Nobody wants to do that. Okay, we have become a world that likes to text. We like short messaging. We like to do little emojis and GIFs and memes and all that. And we don't want to stop simply because I have to have a business interaction now, right? So you need to have that as part of your customer interaction points. You want to have the ability to do that. And some of them are using it very effectively. I know there's doctor's offices now that will text you your appointment information. And there's all kinds of airlines that will allow you to keep up with your delays and all that kind of stuff just by doing text, right? And also number 7 is of course importance because again, we talked about less employees and doing more with less. And I don't care what your business is, the most expensive resource in your entire company is always the same thing, right? What is it? It's people, okay? They're the most expensive resource of any business. Doesn't matter what you're doing, right? So self-service diminishes that. All right, consumer to business text messaging, SMS is the fastest growing channel. That's just statistics. That is businesses that are coming in and saying, hey, we might not swipe out our whole thing, or we're not making a wholesale change, but where can we start? Like what's actually being an impact and what do consumers really want? The answer is text messaging and SMS. That's the fastest growing one right now. It's not the only one, but it's the fastest growing. All right, last, or almost, regulatory agencies crack down after COVID-related, I'm not sure what that word is. Oh, leniency. That's what it would be if it had more letters. So I'm pretty sure it's hidden somewhere behind the top 10. Do not tell any of my marketing people I talked about their slides, okay? Don't do that, okay? I got to work with these people, okay? All right. If anybody asks you like about this presentation, the slide deck was amazing, okay? That's your answer, okay? Practice it, all right? But what I want you to know about that is that it was not consciously stated. However, I will tell you, there are things like HIPAA violations, PCI compliance, MEPA violations, TCPA regulatory issues with when you call that were relaxed in 2020 and most of 2021. The government simply didn't find anyone, okay? Now, the reason why that's important is because in August of last year, they picked about 20 companies and they fined them about $500,000 each. Because you know what they wanted to say? We're back, okay? So there were a lot of leniencies. And why did that matter and how did it happen? Well, because in the beginning, we simply sent people home, right? You guys remember when we thought COVID was gonna be 2 weeks? What about when we thought when it got hot, it was gonna go away, right? The summertime, like COVID was gonna be gone in the summer, okay? So very few businesses planned to have world-class at-home work environments, right? They were just like, you got to get out of here. I got to stay in business. Go home. And for those of you that work in IT and that have a little bit to do with security, some of my buddies over there, you know the majority of those people at home were working on their cell phones, like doing business calls and stuff. That's fun, right? That's exciting. That's secure, isn't it? It's very secure. Absolutely nothing else on those things, you know? But that's what happened, okay? So now what we're seeing happening is because of the crackdown, now we're seeing companies say, okay, if my agents are coming back, that's great, I have this environment, but if a percentage of people of my employee base is going to stay home, I now have to have a secure environment for their home. And companies are looking at that a lot of different ways, right? Does that mean that I dictate the router? Does that mean that I send them equipment? Does that mean that I audit the equipment that they have? Everything in between, okay? But that's a real thing, it's happening. And the last one, of course, is cybersecurity acts are on the rise as a result of work at home. I heard a stat, and before I repeated it, I asked Jason. You guys will meet Jason later. He's facilitating the cybersecurity. He scares me. He's my friend, but he scares the shit out of me, okay? Because Jason knows a lot about security, cybersecurity, and what's happening, you know, in the world and in business. And I'd heard something, so I asked him about it. I said, I heard that even though productivity went up, that I heard that at the end of the first year of work at home, that there was something like an 80% increase in, you know, clicking on my Nigerian prince who's going to send me money, right? There were cybersecurity things went up tremendously in that 1 year. And he was like, yeah, and actually the number is a lot higher than that. And then he started telling me these other stats. I'm not going to say because he's probably going to say them later. But it's a real risk. If you thought it was challenging to be secure in an environment where you could see all the employees, it's damn near impossible for you to have a secure environment in their home unless you're actively doing that, right? Unless you have a plan for that. So those are the things that are trending. If I did everything right, I'm pretty sure I got like 5 minutes left. That's really all I wanted to share with you guys. And I will say, if you want to know like how the Zoom technology works, there's a lot of people that'll like help you with that. But start with the guys at ATC, right? Because we want to make sure that that's the company and the product that you need to see. Yeah, and what else I was going to say? Not technology, not sales. I think I covered it all. Does anybody have any questions? I actually have 4 minutes, and I would like you. I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going because you guys are a new audience for me. But sometimes I ask people if they have questions, and nobody has any questions, and then people try to talk to me in the bathroom. So I'm going to ask you, because it might benefit someone else, I'm going to ask you if you actually think you have a question. Could you please ask me now? Okay, yes, sir. Excuse me? Which car did you test drive? I test drove a CLA 250. So yeah. It's a car. It goes. But I didn't get that. I actually ended up getting the Yukon because I already have a coupe. So that's good. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Her question was, some of the trending, is there a difference between B2B and B2C? And the answer is absolutely. B2C, right? B2B has a little bit more tolerance, for lack of a better word, because business customers are a little bit more patient. They understand business a little bit more. They're a little bit more tolerable. They also, right now, and it's not to say this won't change, but right now, they don't have the same expectation for multiple channel usage either. Right now, B2B customers, if you have a portal, that they're used to that, they'll do that. If you have a portal on your website, or if you have a designated line where they can become higher in the hierarchy, so when they call in, they get more expedient service, they're fine with that. B2B has not experienced as of yet the rash increase in like SMS and text messaging and stuff like that yet. That part hasn't. That's more B2C. One more time?
The rise of TikTok for getting business is primarily B2C?
Actually, the rise of TikTok is period. Okay. TikTok is taken over. There are entire companies that do business on TikTok only. Like they'll tweet, but they have no physical presence. They're shipping somebody's shipping something, but TikTok is a real thing. It's no more just, It's no more the dances. TikTok is a real viable platform that people are transacting business on, and that's not always good. It's not always good. But I would tell you that the biggest thing they're doing is not just the business, it's the influence. The B2C customers specifically are looking to see what other people are saying about TikTok, about businesses that they plan on doing business with. And that's why would that matter. Great question. All right. Okay, any other questions? Okay, last plug in case you didn't get this. I said it a few times, but now I'm going to say it plain, okay, because it makes my life easier and it makes your life easier, right? You guys know ATC, not just because they brought you here, but I'm telling you, if you're thinking about digital transformation, go with an expert. And you guys are much smarter than my last group, because somebody actually said, well, why do I need to do that? Like, I could go online and like buy Zoom, or I could go online and buy like whatever you can. I said, yes, you can. I did not say it wasn't physically possible. You can do those types of things. But anybody bought a house before? Like, raise your hand if you bought a house before, if you like own a house. Okay, how many of you did that without a realtor? That's it. That's it. You don't know what you don't know, and that is not meant to offend you. Okay, I'm just being honest. You don't know what you don't know. You know your business, you know how to work your business, you know how to run your business, and that's outstanding. But this world out here, yeah, don't be shy, don't be embarrassed. It's not the time to let your pride cost your organization money. Okay, that's my input to you guys. Thank you for your time. I got a few seconds left, and I'm out. Are you up yet here, sir? Not yet? All right, but I'm done though, right? I can leave? Okay, all right. That's all that matters.